Microsoft and Meta platforms just reported earnings, and both stocks are green after hours. On today's episode, I want to take a closer look at some of the bullish things we are seeing from these earnings so far, and also what it means for the AI market. As we can see, one of my favorite companies, NVIDIA, is up roughly 2.6%. Now, let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so first, let's start off with Microsoft. And Microsoft, as I am recording, is up nearly 5.7%, almost closer to 6%. All this is going to be very volatile until the market opens tomorrow, so it could change, especially since we do have the earnings call later today, about an hour and a half from now. But we can already see some great news, in my opinion, for both Microsoft and the kind of the AI market. So first, we can see revenue was $70.1 billion, and it did jump 13% year over year. Now, based on what the market was looking for, the market was looking at somewhere around $68 billion here. So we can see there was a beat in earnings per share. Now, if we take a closer look at diluted earnings per share, was about $3.46, and the market was expecting about $3.22. So a good beat here in revenue and earnings per share. That was kind of a great indication, in my opinion, of the strength that we're seeing for AI and cloud. And even more importantly, they kind of the CEO of Microsoft mentions that cloud and AI are the essential inputs for every business to expand output, reduce cost, and accelerate growth. Now, we also heard from Amy Hood, which is the CFO of Microsoft, that they delivered a strong quarter with Microsoft Cloud revenue of $42.4 billion, up 20% year over year by continued demand for their differentiating offerings. Now, if we kind of look at just the revenue intelligent cloud, that was $26.8 billion and up 21% year over year. And one thing that this is a beat, this intelligent cloud was expected to be around 26.2, but we did see a beat here. So this is, in my opinion, great news from the cloud players. We got Google already that reported last week that they're saying right now demand is much bigger than supply. And in my opinion, by us seeing kind of a beat in intelligent cloud as well this quarter, it's kind of showcasing the same thing that Google announced, that right now the cloud market is pretty strong. Now, later today, I will do a full update on the earnings call and maybe some important things that came out from the transcript. But I think for most AI investors and for most Mag 7 investors, a nice beat in revenue. The cloud market is still pretty strong, and we'll get more info from them later on. So expect maybe a more in-depth video on Microsoft later today. Now, before we take a closer look at Meta, don't forget to check out my free daily semiconductor newsletter, whatthechiphappened.com. I just did a few articles today on Supermicro, Palo Alto, and Corvo that did have some things come out in this past 24 hours. So make sure to check it out, What the Chip Happened, completely free. And I'm pretty sure for tomorrow morning, we're going to hear about Microsoft, we're going to hear about Meta, and we're going to hear about Qualcomm. Qualcomm also reported earnings, but it's not one I'm going to discuss too much in today's episode. Now, the second one we're going to take a closer look at is Meta Platforms. So again, Meta Platforms does have the earnings call later. We will take a closer look at that in a bit. But Meta Platforms is up about 13%, sitting at $566 after hours. Now, if we look at what Meta Platforms was expecting, revenue of roughly $41.4 billion. The company gave us $42 billion, so a nice beat there. Earnings per share was expected to be $5.21. Meta gave us $6.43, so a huge beat in earnings per share. Now, Mark Zuckerberg mentioned that they had a strong start to an important year. Our community continues to grow, and our business is performing very well. Meta also said that they're making good progress on AI glasses, and Meta AI, which now has almost 1 billion monthly actives users. Now, this is again strong. We're seeing strong revenue growth, strong earnings per share. Overall, from their main markets, we can see family daily active people is still up 6% year over year, reaching 3.4 billion people. I don't know how they keep finding more people to still see a nice mid to high single digit growth there. The other thing is we saw that ad impression was up 5% year over year, and that's definitely strong. One of the big worries right now is that the AI space is kind of eating a little bit into the advertisement market and average price per ad. But Meta mentions that their average price per ad increased by 10% year over year. So in my opinion, this company is doing amazing. Now, cash and cash equivalents were about 70 billion by the end of the quarter, and cash flow from operating activities was $24 billion, and free cash flow was 10 billion. Another free cash flow machine. Now, this is the point that I want to say got me pretty excited. So Meta did give us a guidance, and actually this is not the part. I'm going to go talk about it in a bit, but Meta did report their second quarter guidance, and it was a revenue between 42.5 to 45.5 at that midpoint. That's also upbeat. So we're seeing some nice, great traction, and that's also going to be kind of another sequential growth there. So even by seeing that sequential growth is kind of indicating maybe a more bullish sentiment to the market than maybe some were expecting. Now, if you are an NVIDIA investor, this is what you love to see. And I'm gonna guess we might hear maybe similar remarks from Microsoft in their earnings call, but they do anticipate their full year 2025 capital expenditure to be in the range of 64 to 72 billion dollars, an increase from their prior outlook of 60 to 65. So on the top end, they're adding an extra $7 billion. On the bottom end, an extra $4 billion. This update outlook reflects additional data center investment to support artificial intelligence efforts, as well as increase in the expected cost of infrastructure hardware. The majority of capital expenditure in 2025 will continue to be directed to their core business. So obviously, with a lot of these tariffs news, there is a cost increase of infrastructure. But Meta is saying that that's not the only reason they're going to be buying here. They're also that's not the only reason they're increasing their capital expenditure. They're also going to increase the amount of additional data center investments that they want. So I would have expected NVIDIA stock to be up, and the stock is up about 2% or 1.9%. Now, this is going to, in my opinion, create kind of another bearish sentiment for NVIDIA in the future. If, look, these data center companies are going to be spending more and more money on capital expenditure because building data centers is more expensive, is that going to reduce the wallet share market going to NVIDIA because they have to spend other money elsewhere? So I could definitely see that becoming a bearish point. At the moment, I don't think that's a true worry, and hopefully by the time it becomes maybe a bigger impact, we are getting closer to hopefully trade deals and other stuff like that. Now, the final company I want to take a closer look at is Qualcomm. So Qualcomm, the stock is down about 5% after hours. I haven't really looked at it. We're going to see maybe Qualcomm tops estimates, but gives light revenue forecast. I think this actually makes perfect sense for Qualcomm. This is a company that is focused a little bit more, a lot more hardware oriented than Microsoft and Meta. So this is one that's definitely going to be more impacted by tariffs changes or any impact to the consumer market and stuff like that. So for Qualcomm, on the top level overview, we can kind of understand why it might have given us weaker guidance. If you want me to do a video on Qualcomm, let me know on the comments below. Like always, make sure to check out whatthechiphappened.com. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Microsoft is still climbing up about 6%, and Meta is now up roughly 4%. Now, again, take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.